Hello, and welcome to our fourth story session. Last time we heard about David killing the giant Goliath because God was with him. Today we are going to look at David after he has been living in the palace with Saul, the king. But first we need to see if our seeds and plants are growing. Well, here we are, and not a lot of change has taken place. Plant growing takes patience, and often with God we don't get answers straight away. David had to wait to be king, and while he waited, he remained loyal to King Saul, even when King Saul tried to kill him. Today's story is about David and Jonathan, the king's son. So David played the harp and sang, and so Saul used to have him sing when he was troubled and couldn't sleep. Saul had turned away from God and had become unhappy as he knew God had left him and David was to become the new king, so he became jealous. Twice he tried to kill David by throwing spears and sending him into a battle he thought he couldn't win, but because God was with David, he survived. One night, King Saul got so angry he sent his guards to kill David while he slept, but David's wife hid a statue in the bed and he escaped from the window. Jonathan is David's friend and knows where he's gone to hide, so he goes and finds him. David said, "Don't ask me to come back and go to the party. Saul is planning to kill me." So Jonathan says, "I'll check out what my dad is planning to do." And so between them they make a plan, and we're going to read about it now. So this week we're reading our story from 1 Samuel chapter 20, and you'll find that on page 326, and it's verses 16 to 27 and 35 to 42. So Jonathan made an agreement with David. He said, "May the Lord punish David's enemies." And Jonathan asked David to repeat this promise of love for him. He did this because he loved David as much as he loved himself. Jonathan said to David, "Tomorrow is the new moon festival. Your seat will be empty, so my father will notice you're gone. On the third day, go to the place where you hid when this trouble began. Wait by the rock Azel. On the third day, I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of the rock. I will shoot as if I am shooting at a target. Then I will send a boy and tell him to go and find the arrows. I may say to him, 'Look, the arrows are on this side of you, bring them here.' If so, you may come out of hiding. You may be sure the Lord lives because you are safe. There is no danger. But I may say to the boy, 'Look, the arrows are beyond you.' If I do, you must go because the Lord has sent you away. Remember what we talked about. The Lord is a witness between you and me forever." So David hid in the field, and when the new moon festival came, the king sat down to eat. He sat where he always sat, near the wall. Jonathan sat across from him, and Abner sat next to him, but David's place was empty. That day Saul said nothing. He thought, "Maybe something has happened to David so that he is unclean." But the next day was the second day of the month, and David's place was empty again. So Saul said to Jonathan, "Why hasn't the son of Jesse come to the festival yesterday or today?" So Jonathan explains that David has asked to go to Bethlehem because his family are having a festival there. Saul is furious and throws a spear at his own son. And the story continues. The next morning Jonathan went out to the field. He went to meet David as they had agreed. He had a young boy with him. Jonathan said to the boy, "Run and find the arrows I shoot." When he ran, Jonathan shot an arrow beyond him. The boy ran to the place where Jonathan's arrow fell, but Jonathan called, "The arrow is beyond you." Then he shouted, "Hurry, go quickly, don't stop." The boy picked up the arrow and brought it back to his master. The boy knew nothing about what this meant. Only Jonathan and David knew. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, "Go back to town." When the boy left, David came out from the south side of the rock. He bowed down to the ground before Jonathan. He did this 3 times. They cried together and they hugged each other. Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace. We have promised by the Lord that we will be friends. We said the Lord will be a witness between you and me and our descendants." And David left, and Jonathan went back to town. So Saul becomes mad and David has to go, but God has kept him safe in the palace while he learnt about being a king. He's been to war and learnt how to fight, and he has a good friend to help him. Even when things seem to be going wrong, God is still in control. So this week's craft or activity is we want you to try being Jonathan. Find 3 throwable objects and a target. Practice throwing beyond it, just like Jonathan did. Don't break anything while you're doing it though. The other craft is a word search with lots of words from the stories over the last couple of weeks. Don't forget to send your pictures in and tune in next week. Bye.